It should never be forgotten that providing protection from external attack is one of the most fundamental functions of a government. It should not be forgotten that behind a shallow facade of civility, the international order is still a brutal and cruel place. It is easy to take security for granted from our remote position. We should not. The international order is dynamic and unpredictable. Things can change very quickly. Military power matters. That is the unfortunate reality. The geopolitical situation of a state is significant, and we can only understand the geopolitical position of a state if we understand the capabilities of its military force. And military forces are as significant as ever. The Ukraine war and the situation in the Middle East have made that more than clear. Here I will provide a very brief overview of the New Zealand military. The New Zealand military has a number of purposes: disaster relief, supporting our allies, supporting humanitarian and peacekeeping missions, and of course, defence and security. New Zealand has a small, yet high-quality military force. New Zealand does not possess typical military assets such as fighter jets, tanks, multiple rocket launch systems, destroyers, submarines, or attack helicopters. The New Zealand military force has a number of aircraft, land vehicles, and ships. Aircraft include both helicopters and fixed-wing aircraft. A handful of C-130 Hercules aircraft provide the Air Force a strong transport capacity. This is absolutely essential for an island nation like New Zealand, and the aircraft have been useful for disaster relief purposes. People like to fixate on combat equipment and heavily armed warplanes. The reality is that a strong logistical capability is just as important as a strong combat capability, if not more so. Weapons are worthless if you lack the logistical capacity to get them where you want them and keep them well supplied. So transport aircraft should not be scoffed at. The New Zealand Air Force also possesses a couple of diplomatic transport aircraft. These aircraft have become notorious for constantly breaking down and are in desperate need of replacement. It is my view that the government should replace them as soon as possible. A strong diplomatic capacity is essential, and for an isolated nation like New Zealand, that means reliable, long-range jet aircraft. The Air Force also possesses 4 P-8 Poseidon aircraft. They are designed to hunt and destroy enemy submarines. The New Zealand Air Force has a number of trainer aircraft. These include the single-engine T-6 Texan and the 2-engine King Air. The King Air can also be used for light transport purposes. The New Zealand military also possesses a number of helicopters. 8 NH-90 helicopters are used for transportation purposes. They can be armed with machine guns to provide light fire support. They are accompanied by a handful of smaller A109 light utility helicopters. These helicopters are used for training and light transport purposes. The final helicopter of the Defence Force is the Sea Sprite. The Defence Force possesses a small number of these helicopters. This helicopter is primarily a naval asset. The helicopter is designed to attack and destroy enemy submarines and warships. The helicopter can be armed with Penguin anti-ship missiles and anti-submarine torpedoes. The aircraft of the New Zealand Air Force can be split up into 3 main categories: transport aircraft, trainer aircraft, and maritime patrol aircraft. This is a practical selection of equipment for a nation that is unlikely to be confronted by a direct attack. It should also be noted that alongside these manned aircraft, the New Zealand Defence Force possesses a number of small drones. These drones are to be used primarily for reconnaissance and surveillance purposes. On the ground, the military possesses a range of assets. The core armoured vehicle of the New Zealand Army is the New Zealand Light Armoured Vehicle. This wheeled vehicle is lightly armoured to provide protection against small arms fire and shell shrapnel. The NZ-LAV can also defend itself and provide light fire support. An armoured turret houses a machine gun and a 25mm gun. An additional machine gun is mounted on the roof. This allows the LAV to engage enemy infantry and other light armoured vehicles. The other main armoured vehicle of the Defence Force is the Bushmaster. The Bushmaster belongs to a class of vehicles intended to transport troops while providing a high level of protection against improvised explosive devices, landmines, and small arms fire. The Bushmaster has seen extensive service in Ukraine, where it has been praised for its value on the battlefield. In addition to these armoured vehicles, the Defence Force possesses a large fleet of unarmoured trucks and transport vehicles. As previously mentioned, logistics is the backbone of a strong military. Without strong logistics, even the most advanced weapons quickly become worthless. The military possesses a small number of other vehicles too, including unarmoured high-mobility vehicles and military engineering support vehicles. The New Zealand Army also has a number of artillery pieces. A number of mortars of various sizes provide a light artillery capacity. Heavier firepower is supplied by 24 L119 105mm light guns. They can be transported by the NH-90 helicopter or towed by army vehicles. For ceremonial purposes, the military also possesses a handful of World War II-era 25-pounder field guns. The New Zealand military has a substantial anti-armour capacity. A large number of M72 LAW disposable anti-tank rocket launchers provide an easily transportable anti-armour weapon. A heavier-duty anti-tank capacity is provided by the Javelin anti-tank missile launcher. This state-of-the-art weapon is larger and far more expensive than the M72 LAW. The Javelin has seen extensive use in the Ukraine war, where it has proven itself by destroying countless Russian tanks. These anti-armour weapons are complemented by a small number of Carl Gustaf recoilless rifles. Perhaps the most significant component of New Zealand's Defence Force is the Navy. As an isolated nation, the Navy is extremely important. The Navy has 2 combat ships, both of which are Anzac-class frigates. Australia also operates the Anzac-class frigates. Unsurprisingly, the Australian ships are better equipped and much more heavily armed. The Australian frigates can be equipped with 8 Harpoon anti-ship missiles. The New Zealand frigates carry Sea Sprite helicopters, which can launch the far lighter Penguin anti-ship missile. That said, the frigates are by no means defenceless. They are equipped with torpedo tubes. Air defence is provided by a 20mm Vulcan Phalanx close-in support system and a 20-cell Sea Scepter surface-to-air missile system. A number of machine guns and the 127mm main gun provide additional firepower. Of course, the frigates are also intended to carry and deploy the Sea Sprite helicopter, which has anti-submarine and anti-ship capabilities. The frigates are supported by a number of patrol vessels. These include 2 offshore patrol vessels. The offshore patrol vessels can each carry a helicopter. They are equipped with machine guns and a 25mm light gun. The Navy also has 2 inshore patrol vessels. These vessels are significantly smaller. They lack a helicopter deck and are armed with just a handful of machine guns. The New Zealand Navy also has a large fleet replenishment ship. This is one of the newest additions to the New Zealand Navy. Its primary purpose is to refuel and resupply other naval assets. The second largest ship in the Navy is a multi-role vessel called the HMNZS Canterbury. The Canterbury has the purpose of providing logistical support and a sea lift capacity. The ship can operate 2 helicopters and can carry 2 landing craft. The ship is armed with a 25mm light gun and a couple of machine guns. Military equipment is a central factor in the capabilities of a military force and the power of a state. Wars in Eastern Europe and the Middle East have made it clear that a country's military assets are more important than ever. Far from a mere special interest, military assets determine political realities. The military value of HIMARS and ATACMS missile systems. Once these considerations would have been considered theoretical curiosities by many. Now for Ukraine, these weapons are pillars holding up state sovereignty. New Zealand has close defence ties with Australia. New Zealand has military ties to the United States. While official defence guarantees between New Zealand and the USA collapsed in the 1980s, it is widely understood that a de facto defence assurance still exists. The New Zealand military is not designed to operate alone. The New Zealand military is designed to complement our allies. We are also in a good security position. We are extremely isolated. We have no land borders. Just getting to New Zealand is a massive logistical challenge for the average military force. And our isolation means that an attack could not exactly come out of nowhere. Large enemy troop movements would easily be detected on their way here. Furthermore, we are of little geostrategic value to most countries. The only countries that have the capacity to easily invade us are our allies, Australia and the United States. Our security position is very good, but the international order is a dynamic and ever-changing place. Things can change very, very quickly. We may be safe now, but we should never take our security for granted. The international order can be a brutal, violent, and immoral place. Recent years have made that reality very clear. Powerful states will brutalize their neighbors if they think doing so is in their interest. We should not assume that we will forever be safe. In my view, military spending should be increased. Major defence spending is needed. The diplomatic transport planes desperately need to be replaced. Soon the frigates will need to be upgraded or replaced. Soon the Sea Sprites will need to be upgraded or replaced. We should also consider investing more in the weapons that seem to define modern warfare. Drones, manpads, anti-tank missiles, coastal anti-ship missiles. These weapons have been valuable to Ukraine. These weapons can provide an asymmetrical capacity, with small nations being able to inflict a lot of damage at minimal cost. Because for a small nation, defence is all about being such a hassle to attack that it just isn't worth it. It is not that they can't seize your territory, it is that it isn't worth the price in resources and blood. This must be the defence doctrine for a small country threatened by attack. Defence spending should be increased to 2% of GDP. I am sure there are many ways this money could be well spent. I am sure those who have been in the military can name countless examples that civilians like myself would never think of. Military power is important. Protecting the country and its people is one of the most fundamental purposes of the state. A stronger military force will make us more independent by reducing our reliance on our allies. A stronger military force will give us more leverage as an alliance partner. We should not be some unthinking lackey that goes along with whatever our allies want, because we are totally reliant on them for security. We should be an exceptionally valuable ally with a large amount of leverage. A strong military force can make New Zealand safer, more independent, and more influential. That is the reality. The military is a valuable thing. Its existence is made possible by people who bravely commit themselves to it. These people deserve our appreciation and our admiration. For them, the military is not some abstract policy consideration, but a concrete reality. When the nation is threatened, the capacities of the military become very much a reality for all of us. The capacity of the military becomes the factor that determines the likelihood of very different material outcomes. Recent lessons from around the world have made that very clear.